Welcome everybody to another episode of Weekly Dose of Dano TV, here with your host Dano, giving you the best content that you're going to find on the internet. I promise if you stay for 10 minutes, you're going to stay for the entire episode. Number one, because the content is so fire. And number two, I'm getting word that the Eagles are not doing that great right now. So I don't know if they're still tired from Sunday or what the deal is going on with them. But like I said, it doesn't matter because you're going to be here. And while we're on commercial break, you're going to be there. So we're going to get a nice little bit of back and forth action going. Please, guys, keep me updated with the game because I am a huge Eagles fan. And to everybody watching, like I said, I need them updates too because I need to see how we're doing. Not because I have a fantasy team or anything. I just, like I said, I love the Eagles, and we have to maybe do a positivity posse tailgate or something, something of that in the near future. I would love to see you guys in person, wherever you're from. If you guys got to fly out or do whatever you got to do to make this happen, that would be absolutely amazing if we can do a little positivity posse tailgate coming up in the near future. But we have a lot of things that we have to talk about for today, mostly around what we always talk about, which is positivity and, holding ourselves accountable and how to face adversity and all the great things that we do talk about. But we're going to go a little bit in depth as well. And if there's anything that you guys want me to cover or talk about today that I can give you maybe my opinion on, or just that we can have the conversation of the free flow and positive energy going, you let me know, because this is a safe space where you can bring any ideas or any, comments or anything that you want to talk about really here, whether it's, good, bad, and everything in between. I will give you guys my advice on it. So thank you guys for being here today, even in the middle of the game. I really appreciate you guys as well. So yeah, we got a lot of stuff that we want to talk about, but the first topic that I want to bring to you guys and for your attention is just the idea of paying the price, right? No matter what it is that you're going to do in life, you will pay a price. And a great quote that I love to use is very simple. And you've probably heard it in the grocery store or at Walmart if you're paying on layaway, but you're either going to pay now or you're going to pay later, right? Every decision that we do make in our lives, even if it's not right then and there, will play a factor, and there will be a consequence or a positive action that happens in result of whatever it is that we decide to do. And we all know the classic examples. I mean, if you're not paying attention on the road, right, and you're texting and driving, that will have a consequence. It might not happen then. It might happen later down the road. And I'm not saying it's a good or bad thing, but an action will happen because of that. Or let's say if you're, want to lose weight and you keep, snacking and eating cheat meals and things like that. Yes, you're getting that satisfaction right then and there, but you will pay later on for it if you still continue to do those things that is not serving us for our greatest and our highest good. And like I said, I don't know why a lot of people don't understand that. I just really live my life that way, thinking, okay, well, if I do this action, then 3, 4, 5 steps down the line, what is the reaction that I'm going to get, or what's the positive benefit or maybe even negative benefit if I engage in this behavior, right? If you're arguing with somebody, we just know that if it gets heated and, people get lost in their emotions, it might not be leading towards our greatest and best good. But if we're talking about it, making active communication to make sure that we're fixing whatever it is that we need to fix, or that the other person you're bringing to their attention, all of that stuff really is for our greatest and best good as well. And make sure you set that intention as well. Just because you may not be paying now, or you will pay now, you will pay later. But whatever the price that we pay is going to be for our greatest and for our highest good. So thank you guys, like I said, for being here, for sharing your positive energy. I can feel it all the way from, the Apple TV, people viewing on there, Amazon Fire viewing on there, Facebook, YouTube. You will be able to find us on all of those destinations, but I can feel the love from everywhere that we do stream to. So thank you guys for being here again. Jeanette says, loving the look, Dano. Thank you. I appreciate it. We're trying something new. We got to switch it up, right? And who knows, the thing that we were just talking about, paying the price or paying the price now or later. This is the things that I wanted to do. If I wanted to try a new look, this is just something that I just felt inspired to do. So Positivity Posse, thank you guys for dropping that. And then we have Let's Go Eagles. Please drop the score of the game and the time, because I really want to know. I hear we're not doing that great, but we got to save that for the other time. For another time, because I'll probably just end up looking at the highlights anyway, but I still want to know, right? So like I said, we have a bunch of things that we need to talk about. We're actually just going to take one quick commercial break before we get started. And I want to talk to you guys about this amazing event going on in the city of Camden, New Jersey, after we come back from our commercial break, because like I said, it's a super great event, and this may be an opportunity for you to help somebody in need. And you don't really have to do anything. You can just show up. You can donate your time. You can donate, monetary, whatever it is that you want to do. And like I said, you can help out with this event that I'm going to show you guys after the break. And I'll give you more info about that. So here's just a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back after a word from our sponsors.
Did you know you can apply to over 50 historically black colleges and universities at the same time?
Takes a village about keeping our families together.
God bless this organization.
That was just a quick word from our first sponsor, which is It Takes a Village Housing. Thank you. Special shout out to you guys for sponsoring Weekly Dose of Dano TV. And they are actually the sponsor that I wanted to tell you about, because they're having an absolutely amazing event for everybody going on in the city of Camden, New Jersey this Saturday from 11 to 2. And here's the flyer if you needed more information. The name of their event is called Bottoms Up Toddler Care, and they're going to be giving away free diapers and everything that you see down here. Sorry, my finger is not in the screen. Right here in the bottom of the screen. So they're going to be giving away free diapers. And oh man, when I tell you they're loaded with it, please, even if you don't have, I'm going to take this out real quick, but even if you don't have a child yourself, please share it to your social medias so that somebody that may be struggling or they can use an extra helping hand, please, you'll be able to let them know. And it takes 2 seconds. All you got to do is share that flyer. You can find it on my page on Facebook, which is Daniel Echeverria, or you can find it here and just share the episode, Weekly Dose of Dano TV. But like I said, it takes 2 seconds. Spread the word. You never know who you might be helping, because sometimes it might be those people who don't say anything, or the ones that are saying, nah, I'm good. You don't got to worry about me. Those are be the ones that need it the most. At any rate, whoever needs to see it, you will be able to help them out as well. But like I said, in addition to the diapers, they're going to be giving away supplies, parenting tips, health resources, and many, many other great things as well. And you didn't hear it from me, but I also hear there's going to be a lot of giveaways as well. When it comes to, you got to be there, because I don't want to spoil the surprise for you guys. But I will also be emceeing that event for you guys as well. Just giving away, just being there, spreading the positive energy, just giving the energy back that you guys constantly giving to me as well. So it's a great, great organization. And thank you guys so much for having that for my city of the city of Camden, because we all know we definitely need that little extra helping hand, especially, nowadays with groceries being so high and just inflation being so out of control. But anyway, we're going to save that for another time and point. And I want to talk about that for a second, actually. Not inflation, but what I just mentioned before about people going through adversity. And, they may say that everything is well and dandy, but sometimes it's not, right? And it's when we are in the face of that adversity where we can find some of the great, some of our greatest, we get to find who we really are in the face of adversity, right? Think about it. Think about when you guys have been in your most challenging, places in your life. Have you just sat down and cried about it? Or did you get up and you figured out a solution and you found a way to make it continuously happen no matter what the circumstances are, right? And that's even what we're doing here. Like, just because, we have things that happen to us that we may not foresee coming, or just circumstances that we don't think is going to happen in our favor, 100% do happen in our favor. And just the fact of being more resilient during these times, it's not always a bad thing when we do face adversity, right? Because number one, I told you, you find out more about who you are as a person and what strength you really do have. And then number two, as well, you just get to see your creative side come out, right? And you get to see how much you can endure and what it takes to get to where you want to go, because it's not going to be an easy journey. And I can sit here until I'm blue in the face to tell you guys about that. And I know it sounds cliche, it might even sound a little bit corny, but we can all think about that time that has happened in our own, in our own times and where it has led us to, right? Because I like to think about those things that happen to us that we don't think is for our greatest and best good at the time. Those things that happen for us, they're kind of like when you pull back a rubber band, right? Or when you pull back a slingshot. You got to bring a lot of resistance and a lot of, toughness and the strength of the rubber band. But when you pull it back and you let it go, what happens? It shoots up, right? And it's just the same thing. You see how far you've come through all of the great things that you have experienced in this life. And it's just, everything is really, I know we said it a lot in season 3, but I'm going to say it again in season 4 too, is everything is a lesson or a blessing, right? And I know it sounds cool. I know it sounds, just because it rhymes, it may sound kind of funny too. But it's so true, because no matter what situation you're in, and I don't care if you think that you're the only person in the world going through it, which most likely you're not, because everybody's going through the same exact things, maybe in a different capacity, but it's through those times, like I said, you'll find what the lesson is in everything. We've had people here on the show talk about that all the time, where, we've had people that have escaped, the sex trafficking industry and, really severe situations or homelessness or being locked in their own basements in their own household. But now when you talk to these people, they understand what the lesson was at that time that they had to go through. And a lot of the time, I would say 95% of the time, these people wouldn't trade those experiences for the world, because it taught them the lesson that they needed to know when it comes to their personal resilience, and things like that. But I just wanted to talk about this comment real quick. 10-7 Eagles touchdown. That's what I'm talking about. Josh says they're running the ball now, so now they're doing good. Being resilient makes us stronger, 1,000%. And right here again, same score at 10-7, which is so great to hear. Hopefully we can keep that lead, but only time will tell. And even with the Eagles, right? You can make the case with them that not every game's gonna go according to their game plan, but even with the on and off the field resiliency that they do have, it's what made them stronger, and it's what's getting them on that field right now, and making those millions of dollars and being in the spotlight and just achieving their dreams and everything that they set out to do, whether they were a young age or whether they started in high school or whatever the case may be. The road is not going to be easy to get to wherever it is that we want to get to. And just always make sure that you're setting that intention to say, yes, it is going to be easy and it is going to serve me for my greatest and highest good. But we all know that things just happen to us that we really can't see coming. And when it comes to that as well, just really, we have to embrace change. If you're getting the same results from doing the same things constantly over and over again, you got to change something, right? And I don't want to say you, because it's me too. And that's why I'm doing, maybe changing my hair or starting a new job or whatever it is that we have to do in our lives. Please make sure that you have the courage and the confidence to go and do whatever it is that we need to do to better ourselves, right? Just because you're starting a new job, that doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. You're making more money, or you're getting used to a new routine or a new schedule. You're learning something new, so you're adapting and expanding on your skills that you already own. There's so many great things that come with change, so don't be scared of it. And like I said, I know it's so easy to think about the things or maybe not feeling that great about starting or just facing change. It's just it's just great, and there's so many great things that come from embracing change. And you guys said it here, facts. So we must have said something that resonated for you as well. And then Jeanette says right here, change can be good. Sometimes it is much needed, 1,000%. And it might be the road that we don't want to go down to take, but it's during those challenges and that dirt road that's unpaved that we go down there. Number one, we'll learn more about ourselves. And number two, you might be paving the way for somebody that can make a bigger impact or a bigger change than we have, right? Think about Martin Luther King. If he didn't really pave the way for the civil rights movement, think about where we would be today. And it takes that kind of courage and confidence to really do everything that we want to accomplish in our lives. And, just if he can do it, you can do it as well. You just got to have the strength and the courage from within. Stop looking to the external sources, and we'll find all the great things that we are meant to find in this world and in this journey. So we're just going to take one more quick commercial break for you guys. So you can go watch the Eagles game, maybe tune in a little bit, just to give you, you got to come back here to give me what the score is. Maybe watch some of your favorite commercials or even use the bathroom. But we're just going to be right back after a word from our sponsors. And don't go anywhere. Like, share, and do whatever you got to do to raise your vibrations. So let's get it, everybody. And we'll be right back.
You can navigate the legal and emotional journey of divorce and exit a marriage the way you entered it, with mindfulness, love, and respect. Solace Divorce Mediation is a full-service law practice helping couples focus on the health and well-being of children and their forever co-parenting family. Our streamlined divorce journey offers flat fees with an estimated completion time frame of 2 to 4 months. If you or a friend need us, visit solacedivorce.com.
Our sponsors for sponsoring Weekly Dose of Dano TV. This wouldn't be possible without you guys, and this wouldn't be possible without my positivity posse. So thank you guys for being here, for liking, for sharing, and just overall just supporting with your good energy. I really appreciate you guys so much for being here today. So yeah, we're going to have a little bit of a switch up when it comes to our guest. He's going to be logging on very soon. He's actually been on Weekly Dose of Dano TV before. His name is Marc Hoberman, but until he comes on, I want to play you guys just something a little bit nostalgic that we've had before, and it's the street segments, man. And I love doing these so much. And even with these, like it was a little bit hard to try to find. I mean, it's still been hard to try to find somebody that's very consistent with the recording and filming of everything. But I'm just gonna play an old school one for you guys, just because I really miss these so much. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it, and let me know what your answer is to the question for these street segments. And then yeah, I'm really excited to play it for you guys. So just let me know what you guys think, and we'll be right back after this episode plays for you guys. So let's get it, everybody. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Dano, television show host of Weekly Dose of Dano TV. You already know what we're doing for today. We're going around the streets of Philly asking everybody the questions that you need the answers to. Let's get it. What's your name, miss?
My name's Corinne.
So what's something in the past year that you feared and you have overcome?
I think that in terms of feeling alone a lot of the time and losing connections with different people and not knowing how to handle that, I think that the experience of figuring out how to be with myself and knowing how to make myself happy without needing to have other people around and relying on other people for reassurance purposes was definitely something that I've overcome in the past year.
Awesome. And what were some of the strategies that you used in order to overcome it?
I think finding things that I enjoyed that didn't have to do with making other people happy and really starting to recognize things that made me happy. So like right now, I'm outside reading a book and sitting by myself, and that's something that I wouldn't have done had I been thinking only about what other people wanted me to do and how to make other people happy.
What's your name, miss?
Amanda.
Amanda, in the past year, what is something that you had a fear of that you've overcome?
So I just graduated from nursing school in May. I started my last clinical, my leadership clinical, in January. I was so nervous going into it because it's a lot of responsibility put on you all of a sudden. And I felt very out of it, out of practice, and going in was kind of terrifying because all the nurses are there, and I feel like I have an expectation that they expect a lot from me. But it's never really the case, and honestly it was really nice because the floor I was on, all the nurses were really nice and accepting. Yeah, now I'm going to start working on that floor actually next Monday, the same floor as a nurse. So
Congratulations. What were some of the practices or techniques that you did in order to overcome that fear?
I just had to put it in my mind and almost play through the scenario ahead of time. So I just thought of other times I'd been in clinical and just kind of tried to work it through, imagine myself as the nurse and try to put that stress off, but just kind of in my mind seeing myself in the role, I think helped get through that a little bit.
What's your name, sir?
Carter.
Carter, can you tell us about something that you feared in the past and how did you overcome that fear?
Oh, that's a great question. I definitely think a big fear of mine in the past has been failure, not achieving what I want to, but letting my family down and kind of others. I don't really know if it's something I've overcame, it's something I still struggle with. I guess for me, it's kind of just become about pursuing what I'm passionate about and what I really think my calling is. And I think once I kind of strayed from, I guess before I was more focused on the finance side of it, making money, making sure. I guess once I kind of started focusing on what I was interested in, I think that's kind of what helped me overcome my fear of failure.
What's your name?
I'm Ella.
What's a fear that you've had in the past year that you've overcome?
So in February, I traveled to Europe by myself, which was absolutely wild, and I had to plan all the flights, accommodations, all that stuff by myself.
What were the strategies and techniques that you did in order to overcome that fear?
Tried to organize everything, start out not just by getting a flight and then figuring everything else out. I tried to make sort of an itinerary and set up a budget, planning everything out before I actually make decisions.
Absolutely love the street segments, just doing them for you guys. But like I said, my biggest challenge is trying to find a consistent camera person. But I promise you, you guys have my word. I'm going to continue to do those sometime in the very near future because things are starting to shape up, and I've been having connections and talking to some people to make that happen again. But I absolutely love those street segments, and thank you guys for dropping it because you guys love them too. Love the street segments. Just get a tripod. What I'm using right now on the camera is, the camera that I'm using right now is on a tripod. So actually, I guess I just got to go set up shop in Philly, just sit down, maybe have a sign that says, hey, you want to be on TV or help me out with my street segments? And then just do it that way as well, instead of depending on somebody else, right? But yes, the street segments are awesome. Thank you so much. I love providing them for you guys as well. So we're going to bring Marc Hoberman on the show. And like I said, he has been on the show before. He was a former school teacher. He's done so many great things in his lives. And just, if you guys don't remember, he's very high energy, high intensity, but really giving us the keys on what we need to do in order to, get to that next level from an educational perspective or just life experience as well. But it's time to welcome Marc Hoberman onto the show. Please, everybody, drop some fire chats, some hearts, whatever you got to do to welcome Marc on the show. Because Marc, what are you doing back there, man? Stop teaching the public on how to do, get to that next level. It's time to get on to the show. Hey, Marc, how you doing tonight?
Dano, how you doing? I did not agree to be high level and high energy. I'm just telling you now.
Hey, it just comes with the nature of it, when you're constantly working on yourself, that's just a byproduct of all the great things that happen.
You got it.
So I'm sorry that it says you're not a DJ, or maybe what's been going on? Have you become a DJ since the last time we've talked?
I have not, but there's no job too small for me. I could start spitting some lyrics. I could do all that stuff. That's it. That's all my lingo. I'm done.
I hear that. Hey, but with the addition of AI and ChatGPT, man, you could just you can freestyle off the dome just while reading it for you. It'll even just
Oh,
force you to do
absolutely.
the lines.
Love AI. Love it.
Oh man. So thank you, Hobie, for being on here today. But we're gonna start out the episode with asking you that question. If you just if you heard on the street segments, we said the question was, what was one thing that you feared this past year that you've overcome? And what were some of the techniques that you've taken in order to overcome that fear?
So I might still have it, but I love what I do, but what I don't like is sales. And I don't think I'm good at sales. And marketing is not my thing. Communicating, talking with people, presenting, because I spent 32 years in education, as you mentioned earlier. So I really do just push myself further to try to sell myself. But the truth is, if you're going to sell something, there's nothing better than to sell. You got to believe in the product you have. So luckily, I'm kind of selling myself and my products that I've developed and things that I've done in my services. But I'm not comfortable with it, to be honest. I mean, I like the product. I love the product, but I don't like the sales pitch.
I hear that. And that's one of the things that we have to work on, right? Because nobody's the greatest at everything. I mean, you're the greatest at spitting lyrics and the greatest at teaching people, but sales might not be the best thing for you. And I know with businesses that a lot of people start to outsource. And there's a book called the 4-Hour Work Week, where they say that, you master everything in the beginning, you learn how to do it, and then you outsource to somebody that's in the book that they say the third world countries, so that the work is cheaper and that you get to save a buck. Do you agree with that statement of outsourcing to other people? And if you do, how do you find somebody that you can trust when it comes to delegating that work?
Well, I've seen the book you mentioned. I've read The 10-Minute Manager. I've read 10X by Grant Cardone. And it's interesting because I never subscribe to any one philosophy 100%. As a former educator, I'm still an educator actually, I do like to pick and choose from these things. And I've known many gurus and some of them set a number, Dano. They say, don't do anything that you can pay someone else $25 an hour to do. And I've realized that only the past, I've been in business, my tutoring business has been 29, 30 years, my training business. And the truth is that some people do many of the things to get my foot in the door better than I do. And you really have to know what you don't know. So I am a big believer in that. And I outsource things. If I put together a graphic image, a graphics or an emoji, something like that, it would be the comedy slam of the season, because people do that for me in 10 minutes, 3 months in a library with 10 computers. I couldn't get it done. So huge believer in that. And sometimes I'm the person that people outsource for them. So 100% yes.
Yeah, and that's just a big thing that people need to understand, because I know when it comes to first starting a business or maybe a nonprofit, a lot of people think, well, I got to do everything and I can't really trust nobody because I don't know what their intentions are. But that might be fear-based as well. You think that everybody's out to get you, but you need to realize that all of the greatest things inside of this world have happened through teamwork, right? I mean, what we're talking about right now, social media, or even just being on your phone with Apple, it's just, you got to have that confidence, number one, that you're going to attract the right people into your life. But number two, you have to have that confidence in that person to say, okay, I trust you. Don't do any sneaky stuff, and we'll see where it goes from here. But, when it comes to that, it's not all rainbows and sunshines and butterflies. So, Mark, can you tell us about an experience that maybe didn't go in your way that you were hoping it would go into? And how did you have the confidence just to say, all right, well, I'm going to cut ties with you, and we're just going to keep moving forward?
Wow. Loaded question. And I have some loaded answers. So first of all, I could think of 80 times the things didn't go the way I wanted to. And I only started to learn from them. It's a real growing process. And I was a little disappointed in myself as an educator, how long it took me to learn from those mistakes. But yeah, absolutely. I've worked with a lot of different people. Some partnerships did not work out. And what I did was I flipped it. At times that I really knew in my heart that it wasn't my fault, I still tried to delve in on what I said or did that made the person react this way. And it's not easy to be reflective all the time. But I like what you said, and move forward. too many people live in the past. Too many people dwell on it and they make it their reality. So now I just meet people at their reality. I will tell you a couple of sayings some friends taught me, some books I read, some things I learned. When somebody tells you who they are, believe them. Also, you train people how to treat you. That's true in business. That's true in life. That's true in friendships, marriages. So I just love learning. And I really started to dig a little deeper. And because I also interview people on my show and I hear from their struggles, and people from all walks of life, people who are, award winners, Emmy Award winners, and nominated for high awards, that people know these people who I'm not going to mention them now by name, but they've all struggled. And you just have to, you have to not just confront it, you have to embrace it. So yeah, I've had a lot of those things. But it's almost like what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. If you can have it as a learning experience and move on to the next level, that's how you become a winner.
100%. And I love that answer too. And the part that sticks out to me most in your answer is when you said being reflective. Because I know a lot of people, if they were in a situation, which we all have been, where they want to constantly blame the other person. Oh, you're making me act this way. Oh, you're making me feel this way. Nobody can make you feel anything. But when you take that step to be reflective, you have to see why you are reacting the way you are reacting to that person, to whatever they're saying or if they're doing. And now, I'm going to say, excluding physical harm, nobody can make you feel a certain way. So if me and, let's just say for you, me and you, an example, right? If you say something that I don't like, you have to be reflective to say, okay, why am I not liking what this person is saying to me? Is it because it's true and I am acting this way? Or is it taking me back to a time in, my childhood or just growing up where it's reminding me of a situation that wasn't very pleasant? And that's so important, like you said, just being reflective, because it's just an indication of what's going on in your inner world. And that person is just trying to bring it out of you, maybe intentionally, or maybe they're trying to teach you something that, they're trying to teach you something that you didn't know about yourself. And Marc, I'm going to bring a real world example into this. And one of the things that I've been hearing with myself, and I've been kind of, you can say, not struggling with, but just a new perspective to life. Maybe you can help me out with this. Is I keep being told that, you got to stop being the nice guy. You got to stop being the good guy. I'm just going to ask you straight up, where can people find that balance? Because I can't tell you how many times I've heard that. I've heard that within the past week about 4 times, which is almost 1 time a day. So that's telling me something. But how can somebody, find that balance? Maybe there's somebody else that's going through the same thing and they're being told you can't be the nice guy. What's your advice on that? And where do you find that balance?
Well, so there's 2 things. First of all, you can never control everything. But the good news is you can always control your attitude about everything. So when you live with that, I taught English for over 30 years. So I got to go with a definition. What is their definition of the good guy and the nice guy? If their definition is of a good guy and a nice guy is you're a good person, you feel for others, you listen to other people, and then you make your decisions, I'm not changing that. That's how I want to be. If the definition of a good guy and a nice guy is be a schmuck, roll over for people, and be a rug and a carpet for people to step on, that's different. So I'd have to know someone's definition of a nice person. If you go out of your way not to hurt people, and if you have the philosophy of not treat others as you want to be treated, treat others as they want to be treated. That makes me a good guy. I'll take that all day long. So good people think good guy is synonymous with stupid guy, or good guy synonymous with weak guy. And a lot of times I tell people, don't confuse my kindness for weakness, because you can be strong, you can be aggressive, you can be proactive and still stay and remain a nice guy, a nice gal, true to yourself. So I don't buy into that. You can't always be the nice guy. You have to be fair but firm, and I'm fine with that.
100%. And I think you just told me exactly what I needed to hear about, stop letting other people define who you are and what you want to be in your life. And, I think I just kind of, not fell victim to it, but, just kind of bought into what their ideology is. And when you're firm in yourself and your beliefs and you know what you stand for, you just know that nobody else can change you, and you're just going to continue to be the way that you are because it's been working, right? And that's just so great. And Marc, all of the answers that you've given me from this episode and the one before are just always spot on, because you've just been, educating yourself to get to that person that you want to be. Have you ever had any role models, or who do you look up to nowadays to try to achieve that best version of you?
So I would say none of my role models are famous. They're not famous actors, celebrities, or authors. They are just good, honest, hardworking people. They give a day's work for a day's pay. They listen when I speak, and I listen when they speak. So people who give you the respect and their time you never get back. So if you give someone an hour of your time, you never get, that's an hour of your life that you either help someone, help yourself, gain something, or didn't gain something, but you don't get that back. So when someone is giving of their time, you cannot put a price on that. So I have some role models. Some are friends. Some are friends of friends. Sometimes my role model I know for 10 seconds. I might be on a subway, which I've only been on twice, by the way, and I'm from New York, if you can't tell by my voice. Not a big fan, but I've heard the way people talk to their children. I've walked by a classroom, and I've seen the way some teachers talk to their students. Some is horrific. Most is always wonderful, because I believe there's very few things better than being a teacher. But those are my role models. And I think that if you only have one role model, you're cheating yourself.
1000%. And thank you so much. Like I said, everything that you've said is just always really profound. Because a lot of people think that when you think of a role model, it's a person, and it's for so many years that they've been an expert at whatever it is that they've been doing. If it's an actor, they're an expert at acting, or things along that line. But what you just said is so profound about it. Can be 10 seconds, right? If you see somebody doing a kind act on the street, that might be your role model for 10 seconds, and that experience might stick out with you forever. And it's just so important to have that awareness, to not say, oh, well, it has to be this person because they've done XYZ or they've achieved XYZ milestones. And you haven't listed that at all when you were talking about yours. You didn't say, well, they have to have a nice car, they have to have a nice house. It's more about character based, and not really, achievements or monetary or physical things as well. So thank you so much for sharing that. And we're actually going to get back to that topic of what you said. What have you done when you've heard some things, and do you think, for the exact example, you were just saying how you've heard other teachers, talk horrifically to their kids. When we get back from this commercial, we're going to dive a little bit deeper into that to see, does everything really need a reaction, or what you define and what your life that needs to be reacted to? So we're just going to hear a quick word from our sponsors, and that's going to be the topic for when we get back. If anybody's watching has any questions for Marc, please drop it. If you just want to say thank you, or if you just want to drop a love or fire chat, fire emoji, do whatever you got to do, because we're going to be right back after a word from our sponsors.
Did you know you can apply to over 50 historically black colleges and universities at the same time for only $20? You can with the Common Black College application. Hello, my name is Robert Mason. I'm the founder of the CBCA. Students around the world have completed the application and received multiple acceptance letters, financial aid packages, and scholarship offers. So visit our website at commonblackcollegeapp.com to apply now. And don't forget to pick up the book, Get Educated, The Man Behind the Common Black College Application. Thank you, and get it.
For our final sponsor for sponsoring Weekly Dose of Dano TV and letting this content continue to grow and expand and reaching everybody that it needs to reach. Thank you so much, Marc, for being here, and shout out to my Positivity Posse as well for commenting and sharing all of your good energy, comments, and questions. So Marc, we're going to dive into that, because a lot of people don't understand that not everything that you hear or that is said to you or that is done to you needs to be reacted to. So, for example, you were just saying how you've heard other teachers in the room talking, bad to their kids. What things do you find, or let me see how to phrase this, but what things do you need to react to in your life, and what things can you just really pass over for the things that happen to you in your life?
Well, I think I can give great advice on this because I don't follow it. And what I mean by that is, I know it's the right thing to do, and I don't always practice what I preach, but priorities are so important. And I have found myself, I have watched myself for decades, but I've really paid attention more recently that I weigh in on things. I found myself weighing in on things that I didn't need to weigh in on at that time. And I'm kind of a fast thinker, and sometimes that's a blessing, and sometimes that's a curse. And I've really done a better job. All I can say is I'm not there yet, but when I hold back, it really is better to listen and then to speak and have all the facts and not always think you have all the answers. And I will tell you and your audience that when I've done that, it has benefited me more than thinking I have to be the one to speak up every single moment.
100%. And sometimes, you know, the smartest person in the room, such as yourself or, you know, anybody that's going through it, they won't speak at all. And like you said, when you take that time to not act based off of emotions, I think that's really more of a stoic philosophy. But that's something that I really like to subscribe to. If I've had situations and you know, or conversations where I've been talking to people and, you know, they want to give me advice about my show, or they want to give me advice about something that they don't even know about. And it's just when you have that inner power, just to be calm, reflect on it, then answer them maybe 10 minutes down the line or one day down the line or however long it may be. When you're taking that time to reflect, you will say the right things at the right time. And the answers that you will give when you take that time to think about it and reflect on it will be more powerful than if you were to just lash back and give them the same energy that you were giving, that they were giving you. And, you know, I kind of want to switch gears a little bit, because one of the things that you like to do is, and I know you do it all the time, you like to find joy in the simple things in life and being aware of that simple thing to find joy in. So what are some of the simple things that you like to find joy in your life? And how did you come to that realization to say, wow, this is something that I really enjoy doing, and I'm going to continue to do it no matter what anybody else says?
So interesting. So I exercise more now, but that's not a fair answer to your question because I hate it. I hate it before I go to the gym. While I'm at the gym, I hate it more. When I leave, I'm so happy I'm done. So, you know, as you get older and you come down with this illness or that illness, you want to take care of yourself. But I urge everybody to read. And some people are audio learners, some are kinesthetic learners, some are visual learners. So now you can do audiobooks and things like that. But I love reading, but I go every other. I'm fiction and then I'm self-help. I'm fiction and then I'm self-help. And I just love it because I have a pretty decent imagination, but and I've seen, and you too, I'm sure have seen so many movies that were first books, but I haven't met anybody who read a book and then saw the movie and liked the movie more, because it's your imagination. It's your thought processes. You're putting a face to the character that you think should be. And some books you're trying to think about what's going to happen next, who the murderer is, if it's murder mysteries, things like that. Number one for me is reading. I just love learning. I love reading, and I've written books, and people have read my books, and it's a great feeling when they say, I read your book, and hopefully it's something positive. But for sure, that's number one. I'm embarrassed to tell you the binge watching I do on Netflix and Amazon Prime and things like that. I'm probably 3% away from being addicted.
100%. And I'm in the same boat as you. The only thing that, you know, is maybe a little bit different is I don't really read fiction books or nonfiction books. All the things that I like to read is about personal development, just because I think that's what's going to take, and, you know, that's what's going to give me the education and get me to where I need to be. And don't get me wrong, there's so many different things that come from reading fiction and nonfiction, but I just like to read, you know, about personal development. And I don't think they've made any movies strictly based off of personal development books.
No, that has to be a documentary. No, because the personal development people have walked the walk and talked the talk.
100%. And sometimes they're not even all that great too, because they might have, you know, scam-based theories behind it, and they're just trying to sell people a dream that maybe desperately need it. So just always take everything with a grain of salt as well. But one of the things that you talked about earlier is the pain, right? The pain of when you're going to the gym. But a lot of people don't understand that the pain of constantly going through whatever that they're going through is stronger and more significant than the pain of going to the gym, right? Because think about it. If somebody wants to get into shape, right, and they want to lose weight, the pain of, you know, having that low self-confidence, or people talk crap about you behind your back, or, you know, all the things that are associated with that, that's going to be a lot stronger than actually going to the gym and lifting weights and running on the treadmill for so long, or achieving that goal weight that you want to do. So how do you convince yourself to constantly keep pushing through that pain, even though you hate doing it?
Couple of things. So first of all, I'm not making this up. I saw a guy at the gym, probably in his late 60s, overweight, on the bicycle. Legally, you couldn't call it riding the bicycle. If he was going any slower, he'd be going in reverse. I'm not making this up. Reading the newspaper and with a bagel in his hand. And he had the greatest shirt. And you know the shirts that say no pain, no gain? His shirt said no pain, no pain. So I kind of like that philosophy. But, you know, when you get blood tests as you get older and things like that, and you see things change, when you see your physique change, when you see your energy level change, I personally, other people aren't always like this, but I really have to focus in on that because I really don't like it. I'm not a morning person. Then before I know it, you know, am I going at 7 a.m.? Not happening, especially now that I'm not working full time anymore. So I just, for the first time ever in my life, this is the 11th gym I belong to. I go 3 days a week and I go religiously. I don't enjoy it, as I said, at all. It became part of my life. You know, I don't love walking my dog in the rain, but when it rains, I walk my dog. So I have to do it. I have to do it for health reasons. And I want to do it to live longer. And someday, hopefully, I'll have grandchildren. I want to be able, when I bend down and pick them up, I don't want to stay down with a broken hip. I want to be able to lift them back up. So I made it a part of my life finally. And I'm talking to you, I've joined expensive gyms and personal trainers. That I kind of stuck with because I paid in advance. So I didn't want to waste my money. But it's not easy. These people, I'm not a gym rat by any stretch of the imagination. I'm less than an hour each of those days I go in. It became part of my life, good, bad, or indifferent.
100%. And that's really embracing change, how we were talking about earlier. You will pay a price, right? And Mark just brought up that example of paying the price of not taking care of your body. When you go to pick up your grandchildren, like you said, you might have a broken hip. But Mark, knowing you, if you go 4 times a week, I bet that 4th time when you go to pick up your grandchildren, you're going to think they're dumbbells and you're going to start curling them one by one.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I go 3 days a week. Don't wish a 4th day on me. I can't stand the 3. Don't add to my schedule. I'm getting nervous.
Hey, well, you know what? That's going to take you to the point that maybe, you know, is going to give you that extra strength.
That'd be great.
That might be the threshold. You know what I mean? That might be the point of, well, maybe, wow, I do enjoy it. And, you know, like I said, embracing that change is super important. So how did you do that? Like, a lot of people might have been scared to be, you know, let's just use the gym instance, for example, to say, oh, well, everybody's going to be staring at me. I have no idea where the equipment is. What were the things that you had to tell yourself, or what were the techniques that you did in order to embrace that change?
Well, there's tremendous benefit in listening. There's tremendous benefit in watching. So I see people do some exercise, and some I can't do. These people are, whatever age they are, they're like behemoths. They're like unbelievable. But I see things, and you can always modify any exercise. You can modify push-ups. You can have a person who's not in great shape doing push-ups on their knees and doing, you know, other kinds of things like that. So I watch. And I learn that way. And I also do listen to my body. The problem is, I'm going to be honest with you, that sometimes, you know, I'm 61 now, and sometimes when I'm lifting, there's a pain, and I have to decide, is that pain or is that a little arthritis? Because I'll push it. You know, so you have to listen to your body, but small steps. You know, I didn't go in and go, okay, where is that squat machine? Because you know, the first time I was on it, it almost squatted me. So, yeah, small steps. It's all a learning process, Dano. It really is. You have to have patience with yourself. Rome wasn't built in a day. People always tell me Rome wasn't built in a day. And I said, no, but it burnt in a day. So if you want something good, it takes time. It takes, you know, 50 years to make a phenomenal reputation. One bad move, one bad situation to kind of bury that reputation. So again, not to beat a dead horse, but small steps, patience, listen to your body, listen to yourself, but always learn from others. Always.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing too. I can't stand when you try to give somebody advice and they say, oh, well, I already knew that. Well, yeah, just because you knew it doesn't make it efficient, or doesn't mean that you actually apply it. And just because you know something, that's, like you said, the difference. When you apply it, that's when you'll start to see the benefits. But if you just learn everything and just say, oh, I already knew that, I knew this and that, well, what's the point of knowing it if you're not going to apply it and you're still at the same place that you're at, even though you want to be somewhere else? So like I said, that's just so important as well. Just being humble enough to say, all right, well, I can learn some more things, but actually having the confidence just to go out and actually achieve those things. And like for you, or the things we were talking about was going to the gym. And one of the things that I've been trying to do more and changing wise is doing like time audits. So I'll analyze my days, where I'm wasting time, and I'll try to supplement that with a different exercise or something that'll be more productive, right? So my days recently have just been absolutely jam-packed, but instead of, using bad habits or binge watching TV, because just like you, man, I've been binge watching Suits. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
Well, I don't know if I've ever seen that because I've watched 70 episodes in 4 weeks, and I already saw 6 episodes today. I will take you on in Suits any day of the week. I'm addicted. I'm going to need medication. I'm addicted to that show. I only started it 6 weeks ago. I am on season 7, episode 5. So I told you about this binge watching. It's definitely not normal. I can tell you right now.
You know what? I've been doing the same thing. To be honest, I think I started maybe about 3 months ago, and I'm on season 6. I don't want to spoil anything for everybody, but I think that's just everybody that watches that show. It's super addicting. But yeah, like you said, like I was saying, just taking that habit and, maybe supplementing an hour of meditation or, positive affirmations versus watching it. But hey, if you're happy and you're not hurting anybody and you're not doing anything illegal, then more power to you, right? So Mark, if there's any tips or something or any books that you will recommend to somebody, because we only have a few minutes left for the show, what have been some of the most powerful reads that you've read recently, and why have they been that?
I don't remember. I have a book called How to Read People. I'm probably saying the title wrong, but I love that, based on body language, things like that. A lot of the people, the gurus, the Grant Cardones, that subscribe to everything that these people say. So understand, people, when you read these books, you don't have to marry the book. You can date it. You can date chapter 11 and fall in love with it. You can hate chapter 12. It's okay. Pick and choose. Now, shameful plug, I like this book because it's my book.
Tell us about it.
Yeah. So this is, I was diagnosed with epilepsy at age 16 and a half after moving from Yonkers, New York, where I was born and raised, for 16 and a half years, to Florida. And the stress was bad. And I had this tendency, had a seizure, didn't tell anybody. I had 21 seizures actually over the course of probably 10 or 15 years. Didn't tell anybody until I was 54 and the book came out. And I started it 10 years before it came out and then put it on the side. Life gets in the way. But my son came down with IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. And I was really helping him psychologically get through it, because it wasn't the physical that was bothering him. It's that going out with my friends and, oh, my stomach's going to hurt. And my wife said, how come you're so calm about this? You should be more emotional. And I probably should have been. But I said, because of what I went through as a teen, I'm able to help him, and I help my wife and myself. So if this book existed when I was diagnosed, my parents would have fared well, because they did well medically for me, but they did very bad emotionally. They really couldn't handle it. So the mantra of this is, don't let your struggles define you. You define you. The book is called Adversity Defeated, Turn Your Struggles into Strengths. But it's not a book about epilepsy. It's about overcoming adversity. My adversity just happened to be epilepsy. I was diagnosed probably 12 years ago with diabetes because of diet and exercise. I'm on the same 2 pills when I was diagnosed. I have 6 friends who were diagnosed with diabetes after me. They're all on insulin. They don't watch themselves. They don't watch what they eat. But I will tell you this. When I was diagnosed with diabetes, it was as if you had said to me, pass the ketchup. It didn't mean anything to me, because I had already tackled and dealt with, in the first 2 years as a teenager, I was definitely clinically depressed. We didn't talk about it with anybody. You didn't go to psychiatrists back then about that. So because I lived through this, and writing of the book. So I don't care if people don't write a book, but journal. So I will say that I learned so much from other books that I've read, but I learned more about myself when I wrote a book. And you learn more about yourself when you journal. You don't want to publish it. You want to keep it to yourself and put it in a drawer. There is nothing better. That's the human being in me talking. That's the English teacher speaking. That's a businessman speaking. There's nothing better.
100%. And you have somebody right here that agrees with you 100%. Jeanette says that she loves the journal. The only thing that I need to improve on is I love the journal too, man. You just get that whatever is going on in your body, you get to release it. And you just start to do that little reflections, and you can write about anything. You can write what your dream life is going to be. You can write about how your day went, or if you having bad thoughts, you can just write that all out, and that's a form of release as well. There's so many benefits to journaling, but thank you so much, Marc, for sharing that. If there's any, what future projects or what can we be looking out for from Marc Hoberman in the future?
So I was associate producer of a documentary that's on Amazon Prime now, and will be on Tubi TV in a month or two, called Surviving the Hill. And I was actually the co-author of the person featured in that book, Stephen Hill. That book is Journey to Recovery, Speak Sobriety. I'm the associate producer, and I'm in that. So I'm working on some other things. I'm working on my character education for schools, where I come in person or on Zoom, but I bring in cameos, celebrities, professional athletes, and they answer questions live that the students ask. And that's anti-bullying, that's overcoming adversity, leadership, communication. So I'm really still steeped in the schools, trying to get that character education out to as many people as possible.
100%. So everybody be on the lookout. Oh, what was the name of your documentary again?
That one was Surviving the Hill.
Okay. And what was that about?
That's about a person who overcame opioid addiction and actually heroin as well. And it's about the tragedy of addiction in this country. And this is a former student of mine who I tutored for the SAT. And we got together years later, and we hooked him up with somebody else I was doing business with, Janelle Mecca Holmes, who is running Supernatural INC. And so we got together, and I was the associate producer. As I said, it's very powerful. You're going to cry. And it's very powerful with parents, unfortunately, who have lost children to drug addiction. So we do have that. And that's why character education is so important. That's why I want to bring that into schools more, because the young people is where it's at. And I want to be proactive. I want to get to these kids before they turn to the drugs. Suicide is up. Drug use is up. So it's all in the youth. I mean, we don't need billions of dollars just for weapons and things like that. Our greatest weapon is educating youth and helping them build their character. School should not just be about academics. I believe in academic education and character education.
100%. And when you have those two things in tandem, working to the best of our abilities and setting the intention to make sure that we're achieving the highest levels of education for both of those things, we become unstoppable. And you guys, if you haven't tried it yet, please just work on yourself. Like Marc was saying, read a book, watch a documentary, inform yourself to find out what you're missing out on. Because the things that a lot of people say ignorance is bliss, but that's so far from the truth, because the things that you don't know that are killing you are exactly doing that. They're going to deteriorate you. And in order to combat that, we have to educate ourselves into what is hurting us, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, all of those great things. When we educate ourselves, we are fighting that, and we can really make the change within ourselves. And we don't have to look to the outside for other people to tell us what we need to do with our own lives. So where can people reach out to you, Marc?
They should go to marchoberman.com, MarChoberman.com. A lot of my programs are there. All the books I've authored and co-authored are there. The education site is gradesuccess.com. So info at gradesuccess.com is where anyone can reach me. But that's on both sites, the gradesuccess.com. And again, the main hub is marchoberman.com. So thanks for asking me for that.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for coming on today and really being the superhero. I see you got your cape on today, and we really do appreciate it. The Positivity Posse absolutely loved it. Mario right here, shout out to him. Super amazing guy as well. He says, agreed. Thank you both for a great show. Marc, thank you for your information. A lot of golden nuggets, but when you melt those all down and put them into one, he's been giving us the gold bar. So let's call it what it actually is. To my Positivity Posse, I know the Eagles game is going on today, but thank you so much for tuning in, sharing your comments, and I can just feel the love with you guys. Like I said, Marc, thank you again for making this happen. B, you're the best. Thank you so much for making this happen as well. I hope you guys really have a great weekend, and I'll just keep an eye out for the updates because we're going to, bring out the next guest for next week. But for this weekend, have a great weekend, everybody, and I'll see you next week for another episode of Weekly Dose of Dano. Peace, everybody. Thank you again.
Have a good one. Take care.